thank you for coming. It's lovely to see such a mix of familiar and new faces here on the attention stage, and thanks very much, Mike, for putting this all together. So I'm Alex Browne, Head of Partner Strategy at Realeyes, and I'm joined on stage today by Sorin, who I think is taking his third turn of the afternoon.
And last one.
So yeah, exactly. So we're very grateful to have him on stage. And we're going to be going through a Mars success story, really, which is why Sorin is here. We'll actually be talking you through the bulk of the presentation. But I wanted to start quickly by reflecting on something I saw yesterday, actually, which was, I don't know how many people caught Sir Martin Sorrell's presentation over on the Hexagon stage yesterday. But the final question that he was asked during that presentation was, what's your recommendation for CMOs going into Q3 and into the next year with all the geopolitical turmoil that's going on? And his first and most salient one was be agile. And I think as marketers, in marketing in general, the word agility is thrown around quite a lot. It's a bit of a buzzword. But I think the solution that Sorin has pioneered at Mars is truly agile and really meets the testing standard of that word. So without further ado, Sorin, I'll go through. There we go.
All right. Thanks a lot. So just in case you have 1 minute to be here and then you need to leave to go somewhere else, this is a slide that explains everything we're going to talk about in the next 10 minutes. So if you were here 1 hour ago when I was on stage, I was explaining about our history of discovering attention as a metric for success that correlates with sales. The outcome of that work was our partnership with Realeyes. In partnership with Realeyes and Mediacom, we've built a pre-testing tool that's proprietary to Mars and that we run on behalf of our marketing teams to test advertising. And we're doing it in an agile way. We're talking about return times of 5 working days at a relatively inexpensive price point for the market. And it's purely behavioral. It tracks attention and it tracks emotional load in response to digital advertising. How it works, I think we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but it basically uses AI and facial coding to understand if people stay with your ad and if they smile, if they frown, if they are exposing any kind of emotions. And it works. We've done it over 1,000 times. We've optimized content to double-digit sales uplift, which is what we want to see from any type of content and media investment. And the program generated approximately $30 million of incremental sales for Mars in 2 years. So that's in summary what we did. And let's start with what was the challenge. And the biggest challenge I had was that using single source panel and using sales data to quantify the impact of advertising, it's a long process. At best, you'll wait 3 to 4 months. It's better than market mix, which you wait 6 months for the results, but it's still very slow. It's inexpensive, and with low levels of reach, it's very hard to achieve quality in sample size. The second point is that at Mars, we are firm believers in behavioral measurement. We are trying to move completely away from using surveys as we know that they're not predictive of sales when it comes to advertising testing. So we had to look for a proxy metric that is as close as possible to sales. And before the pandemic, we were very much busy working with companies like Nielsen, like Ipsos in the neuromarketing space in lab, testing our ads in consumer labs. But with COVID, that was impossible. A lot of the labs have closed. A lot of the traditional neuro providers have been closing down their businesses. So the challenge was how do we move this into the mobile space, and how can we find and create a solution that's ready in front of your mobile. Is that you or me? I don't remember.
This is me.
Cool.
Either of us could do it. So the 3 challenges that Sorin has just laid out there. When we started out on this initiative, we could reframe them as objectives, really, or requirements for what we were going to build. So the first is predict, meaning that the outputs of this test should have a relationship to sales outcomes. And within that we should be able to learn how consumers behave and how consumers think. The second is that it should deliver meaningful optimizations. And you can think of that in kind of three ways. So we're looking at improving performance first through creative selection, so with multiple ads, choosing the ones that have the best attention potential. The second is through creative editing, so scene by scene, second by second, looking at the way the different scenes work and optimizing individual creatives. And then also using that understanding of creative quality to inform smarter media bidding strategies. And then third, and maybe most fundamental of all, is the ability to scale. And scale has a number of dimensions. So that first means, of course, that the solution needs to be able to operate in all the different markets that Mars advertises in. It also needs to be fast, and it needs to have the capacity to deal with lots of different tests running at the same time. And a simple way of setting kind of an overarching objective to make sure that we met that scale challenge is the overall objective of 1,000 videos measured, which is what we achieved. So just a little bit about how the testing works. So these are panel-based tests. So for every video that we test, it's embedded in a link and distributed through online panel partners to a given target audience for that advertisement. And it's exposed to about 150 to 500 viewers. Each of those viewers, when they view the advertisement, they have to strictly opt in and allow access to their webcam. And then as they're viewing the ad, their attention and emotions are captured in a natural viewing experience. So they're watching this at home on their own device, giving us more organic data and organic responses. That data is then aggregated together and automatically fed back into a dashboard and analytics system that not only gives you the granular second-by-second fundamental data that we're talking about, but that what could be applied on top are specific analytics tools and AI, bringing that up into more actionable scores, essentially. So yeah, that's how the tool works, and Sorin's going to tell you about a couple of positive case studies from the
Yeah, if you can stay back on the last slide, I think it's super interesting to know that we use this tool both as a predictor of success. So the output is go for this ad or fix or drop. But we also use it to go second by second. So we look at where attention drops and where are moments in the ad where basically people are stopped looking at their phones. So we're trying to see how can we adapt that ad, how can we shoot that creative, mix that creative so that it, when we do a retest, it works for attention grabbing. And we do the same for emotions. And every metric that we have here around attention, distraction, and emotion is linked to sales. So we know exactly precisely at what level of attention you are more likely to have a higher sales impact or not. So that's how we embedded the science in it. So. And there is success. I mean, two examples here. One is Extra Gum. You probably saw the pandemic ad for Extra Gum that went viral in the UK. It all started with a two-minute video ad, which came to us, and we were asked to find ways to use data to cut down that 2-minute video to the relevant 15 seconds frame. So we've used ACE to understand what are the elements of the 2 minutes that are working best from an emotional standpoint. We understood where attention drops happens, and then we suggested a couple of cuts. We've retested then 3 different versions, and the one that you probably saw online or on TV was the one that was successful based on our test. So that's one example. The other is for a brand called Shiba. We've shortlisted several ads from Shiba, and the successful one we've decided to use it out of a pool of 3 ads, and the successful one had a double-digit sales uplift impact, which was one of the best performance for a digital ad for the brand. So a few examples. I'm happy to share more when we meet after the presentation. So what was the impact? The impact in Mars was huge because we, as a company, we gave up on pre-testing. We gave up on pre-testing 6 years ago. And because we're not happy with the solutions that are available on the market, we are very happy with this solution. It was tested on over 1,000 ads in 1 year, and it used sales data from over 4,000 data points. It enabled us to to be more direct in approaching new platforms. For example, TikTok and even Instagram stories. We've seen double-digit sales uplift for creatives optimized for those platforms because testing can happen in platform. And what's very important for a large advertiser like Mars, it really achieved global scale. So it was a solution that's working in China, it's working in Australia, it's working in Brazil, and it's used and reused across the ecosystem. And it's just a start because at Mars we're not extremely hidden with that solution. We've worked with the friends from McDonald's to understand how their advertising works, and we are very happy to partner with other like-minded companies, of course non-competing with our products, because I think we all have to learn on how we can create better ads.
Wonderful. So that's ACE, a summary, literally ACE. So we have, I think, 3 minutes left. So be happy to take any questions from the audience. But I was going to give or tee Sorin up with one, which is how did you drive adoption of ACE at Mars at such scale?
So we've set up that question. I'm not taken by surprise here. So it's fantastic to launch something and have 1,000 associates in Mars giving you ads to test. So what we did, we first piloted on a small sample of ads, and we've presented those results to the various senior leaders in the organization. And then from the senior leaders, this was trickled down into the organization, and basically there was a competition between the segments on which segment would do most ACE tests and would improve the best in. So we gamified a little bit internally. We ensured the sponsorship comes from the senior leaders, and we had an agile solution, which was exactly what the marketeers wanted from us.
Wonderful, thank you. Do we have?
There's not enough mics to go around. So we have one question for you both, which is that the facial coding and sort of emotional stuff that Realeyes do is a sort of scalable use of neuroscience. Often neuroscience can be brilliant, but it can't scale.
Correct.
But obviously with Realeyes, you can get these thousands of ads tested amongst the. Are there other neuroscientific techniques that you're thinking about or are using, and are there opportunities to scale these things in the future? Is this part of a broader scalable neuroscience movement, do you think?
I can pick it up. So we haven't started with facial coding. We've actually started with EEG and deeper neurosciences. But just to give you a little bit of pricing here, we're talking about 25K per ad when you go into a lab and you have consumers watching your ad. So it's really inefficient when you're talking about digital content, because you're spending $10,000 for an ad for media, and then you spend $25 to measure that performance. So it doesn't work. So the facial coding is a good enough solution for us. It brings us speed, it brings us the mobile experience. And we can build on that. And I think while it might be not as accurate as more intrusive techniques of neuromarketing, it is definitely the scale, and the scale can bring us much more than the accuracy.
Yeah, I'll maybe just add to that Realeyes wasn't originally an attention company. It was originally founded on the premise of being able to capture emotions. But then through developing techniques to capture emotions, we learned that we could build, through pretty sophisticated deep learning techniques, that we could really make a good fist of measuring attention, and that's subsequently become the focus. And I think that kind of trend is going to continue, so more refined versions of emotion analytics and attention analytics, building off of what we've already done. I think that's certainly what's going to be happening over the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.